They say the mind is a powerful thing, and it is. It's the starting point of every decision, every step forward, every dream realized or abandoned. Before any goal is reached, before any mountain is climbed, the journey begins not with your feet, but with your thoughts. What you believe about yourself, what you hold true in your heart and mind, quietly but powerfully shapes the direction of your life. Your mindset, more than your background, your resources, or even your talent, is what defines your reality. Think about it. Every invention that changed the world started first as a thought. Every great leader who inspired millions started with a vision in their mind. And every individual who rose from nothing to something began with the decision to see more for themselves than what the world saw for them. That's the difference. Not luck, not fate, but the ability to shape reality by choosing how to think. You see, the world will try to tell you who you are. It will try to box you in, label you, limit you. But your mind is your escape route. Your mind is your engine. When you take control of it, when you train it to focus on possibilities instead of problems, you become unstoppable. When you train it to focus on possibilities instead of problems, you become unstoppable. Because success isn't something that happens to you. It's something that grows from within you. Too many people wait for the world to give them permission to succeed. They wait for the right time, the right opportunity, the right support. But the truth is, you don't need permission. You don't need a perfect situation. You need the right mindset. A mindset that refuses to give up, even when things get hard. A mindset that sees failure not as the end, but as part of the path. A mindset that chooses to believe, even when there's no evidence yet, that better is coming. And here's the beauty of it. You don't have to be born with it. This mindset can be built. Every single day, in the quiet moments when no one's watching, you can choose to feed your mind with thoughts that empower you instead of ones that hold you back. You can choose to tell yourself, I can, even when the world screams, you can't. You can choose to see each obstacle as a stepping stone, each setback as a setup for something greater. What you focus on expands. Focus on fear, and fear grows. Focus on doubt, and it will drown your dreams. But focus on hope, on growth, on purpose, and you'll watch your world change. Slowly at first, then suddenly. Because that's how it happens. The mind shifts, the heart believes, and the body follows. Success doesn't start with luck. It doesn't start with money. It doesn't start with talent. Success starts in your mind, in that quiet, powerful space where you decide what your life will mean, what legacy you will leave, and what impossible thing you will make possible. So decide now, in this moment. Decide to take ownership of your thoughts. Decide to believe bigger. Decide to rise. Because when your mind believes it, your reality begins to live it. Before any dream becomes real, before any victory is won, there is a moment, quiet, often unnoticed, when a person chooses to believe. Long before the applause, before the breakthrough, before the world takes notice, there is belief. Pure, unwavering, sometimes lonely belief. And that's where success truly begins. You see, belief isn't just a feeling, it's a force. It's what gets you out of bed when the odds are stacked against you. It's what keeps you moving when progress is slow and no one seems to notice your effort. Belief is the engine that drives discipline. It's what fuels late nights, early mornings, and every quiet moment in between, when quitting looks easier than continuing. Look back through history, and you'll see it's true. Every great achievement, every invention, every movement, every story of someone rising against the odds started with belief. Not belief that everything would be easy, not belief that there wouldn't be failure, but belief that it was possible, belief that they were capable. And that single shift, that decision to believe, changed everything. It's easy to say, "I'll believe it when I see it." That's what most people do. But that's not how greatness works. The people who achieve what others only dream about do the opposite. They see it because they believe it. They walk by faith, not just by sight. They carry a vision inside them that no one else can see, not yet. But they hold on to it, nurture it, protect it, and slowly the world begins to catch up to what their mind and heart already knew. Sometimes believing is the hardest part, especially when life gives you every reason to doubt. When your bank account is empty, when your health is failing, when your relationships are strained, and your dreams seem far away. In those moments, belief feels like a battle, but it's in those same moments that belief matters most, because belief isn't tested in comfort, it's forged in challenge. And the stronger your belief, the further you'll go. When you believe in yourself, you give your potential permission to breathe. You tell fear it has no power. You silence the voice that says, "You're not enough." And you replace it with one that says, "Keep going. You've got this. You were made for more." That voice, your voice, becomes your greatest weapon. And day by day, belief turns into action. Action turns into progress. And progress, that's the bridge between dreams and reality. It's not magic. It's mindset. It's deciding that you're worthy of the life you imagine. It's knowing that even if no one else claps for you, even if no one else sees the vision, you do. And that's enough to begin. The truth is, your belief sets the ceiling on your success. If you believe small, you live small. But if you believe big, if you dare to think that your life can be something extraordinary, you give yourself the space to grow, to stretch, to rise beyond anything you've ever known. So believe before you achieve. Believe even when it's hard. Believe when it hurts. Believe when it doesn't make sense. Because belief isn't just where it starts. Belief is what makes the impossible possible. We grow up thinking limits are real. We see boundaries, rules, and barriers all around us, some made by others, some made by ourselves. We're told what we can and can't do, what we should and shouldn't try, and somewhere along the way, we start to believe it. Not because it's true, but because we've heard it enough. Over time, we stop testing those boundaries. We stop reaching, stop asking, stop trying. Not because we failed, but because we've assumed we would. And that's the quiet danger of limitation. It doesn't shout, it whispers. It hides in plain sight, in our thoughts. Most of the limits we face aren't out there in the world. They're in here, in our minds. They're stories we've told ourselves over and over again until they sound like truth. I'm not smart enough. I wasn't born into the right family. These thoughts become like bricks, and before long, we've built walls, not to protect us, but to trap us. But here's the truth. Those walls, they're not made of stone. They're made of fear, doubt, and past experiences. And the moment you realize that, the moment you decide to challenge them, those walls start to crack. Because limitation is only real if you let it be. It's a mindset, not a life sentence. Every person who has ever done something remarkable has stared down a mental wall and chosen not to let it win. They didn't wait for someone to tear it down for them. They climbed it, broke through it, walked right through it. not because they were superhuman, but because they knew that the strongest prison is the one you don't know you're in. It's easy to see someone successful and assume they had a shortcut, a special advantage. But most of them didn't. What they did have was the courage to question their own limits, to challenge the idea that their past defined their future. They decided that their dreams were louder than their doubts, and that decision changed everything. When you stop accepting limits, you start seeing opportunities. You start thinking differently. You begin to take risks, speak up, push forward, and each time you do, the walls get weaker. Your comfort zone stretches, and you become someone who doesn't just imagine more, you live it. And yes, people will question you. They'll tell you to stay in your lane, to be realistic. They'll remind you of every reason it might not work. But remember, they're speaking from their walls, not yours. Don't let someone else's fear become your blueprint. Your mind is yours. Your path is yours. And the only permission you need is your own. The moment you understand that, you take back your power. Because when you realize that the biggest limits are mental, you also realize they can be replaced. You can trade fear for confidence, trade doubt for discipline, trade limits for vision, and slowly, one belief at a time, you rebuild your mindset into something unstoppable. The world outside may not change overnight, but the world inside, you can. And once that shifts, everything else follows. So if you're standing in front of a wall right now, one built of fear, failure, or someone else's opinion, take a deep breath, step forward, and remind yourself of this. The wall was never real. You are. Everything you create in your life, you create twice. First in your mind, then in the world. That's the power of visualization. It's more than just seeing a picture in your head. It's about planting a seed so strong, so vivid, so real in your imagination that your body, your spirit, and your actions begin moving toward it, even when the road ahead is unclear. See, most people only react to what's in front of them. We react to what's in front of us. They live by what they can see, touch, and measure. But the people who rise above, the ones who do the impossible, they live by what they can imagine. They live in the future they've already seen in their mind. While others are waiting for proof, they're already building it. Visualization is the tool that makes belief tangible. When you close your eyes and truly see your goal, not just as a hope, but as a living, breathing outcome, you begin to train your brain to find a way. You light up the parts of your mind responsible for focus, discipline, and action. It's not magic, it's wiring, it's biology. Your brain doesn't know the difference between something vividly imagined and something real. So when you visualize yourself winning, succeeding, becoming, your mind starts acting like it's already happening. That's when momentum begins. Athletes do it before stepping onto the court. Leaders do it before walking into big decisions. Performers do it before stepping into the spotlight. They run the moment through their minds, not once, not twice, but over and over, until it feels inevitable. That's the level of clarity that fuels excellence. Because when you see it clearly, you act with purpose, you walk with confidence, and you don't let fear slow you down. But visualization isn't just about the end result. It's also about seeing the path. You picture the work, the late nights, the resilience, the sacrifice. You imagine overcoming the obstacles. You don't just daydream. You train your mind for the battle, so when the time comes, you don't panic. You've been there before. You've already seen yourself rise. Most people don't reach their goals because they never take the time to see them clearly. They say what they want, but they haven't felt it, haven't seen it, haven't lived in it long enough for it to take root. But if you take just a few minutes every day to sit still, to quiet the noise, and to walk through your vision in your mind, with clarity, with detail, with emotion, everything starts to align. Your actions, your mindset, your energy all shift toward that outcome. And don't worry if the world around you doesn't match what's in your head yet. That's not your concern. You don't build a house by staring at an empty lot and feeling discouraged. You build it by holding the blueprint in your hand and laying the first brick. Visualization is the blueprint. Your job is to keep it in front of you and keep building no matter what. So close your eyes if you need to. Picture where you're going. Feel what it's like to get there. Smell the air. Hear the sound. Stand in that moment like it's already yours. Because once your mind believes you've arrived, the rest of you will do everything it can to catch up. And when it does, it'll feel like destiny. But it was vision all along. You can't control everything in life, but you can control what you do every single day. And those small things, the ones that feel ordinary, almost invisible, they're the ones that shape who you become. Success isn't built in a moment. It's built in the quiet repetition of good choices day after day. And that's where the real power lies, in the habits you choose and the mindset you train. Your mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant, it will grow. If you feed it doubt, fear, and negativity, it will produce more of the same. But if you feed it belief, discipline, gratitude, your life begins to transform from the inside out. It's not about forcing success to happen overnight. It's about becoming the kind of person success naturally follows. That transformation, it happens through habits. Now, habits don't sound glamorous, they're not flashy, they don't get applause, but they are powerful beyond words. Because what you do repeatedly becomes what you believe, and what you believe shapes everything. You wake up each morning with a choice: to let the day lead you or to lead the day yourself. That choice begins with your routine, the words you speak to yourself, the way you breathe, the way you move, even the thoughts you entertain. Every one of those decisions tells your mind what kind of person you are. And over time, your mind starts to agree. It begins working with you, not against you. Maybe no one sees you waking up early to learn something new. Maybe no one sees you choosing a better meal, a better word, a better action. You become who you truly are. But those choices matter. They're bricks in the foundation of your future. They're how you reprogram a mind that's been filled with doubt. Because repetition rewires belief. And here's the truth. Bad habits don't need permission to form. They creep in quietly when you're tired, distracted, or discouraged. But good habits, they need intention. They require you to wake up and say, I'm going to be the architect of my life today, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. You want to become more confident? Start by speaking better to yourself. Want more energy? Change how you treat your body. Want peace? Build time into your day for stillness. These aren't complicated changes. They're small shifts in how you live, but they lead to giant shifts in how you feel. And when you feel better, you do better. It's easy to think that habits are just about discipline. Is it about at least take 2 bits of everything? If you take 10 minutes of silence, is it about a little more confidence? Is it about a little more but they're about identity. Every time you choose a positive action, you're casting a vote for the kind of person you want to be. One vote won't decide the outcome, but enough of them will. And before you know it, the way you live will reflect the greatness you've always had inside you. So don't wait for motivation to strike. Build the systems that make success automatic. Set yourself up in a way that even on your worst day, your habits keep you moving forward. Let your routine work for you when your willpower feels weak. Because your habits are the safety net that catches you and the ladder that lifts you higher. You're not stuck. You're not broken. You're being rewired. And every small intentional action is a signal to your mind that change is not only possible, it's already happening. Because when you reprogram your habits, you don't just change what you do, you change who you are becoming. If you lost everything today, your job, your money, your home, but you still had your mind, you'd still have everything you need to start again. That's how powerful it is. Your mind isn't just a tool, it's your most valuable asset. It's the command center of your life. Every decision, every breakthrough, every moment of courage or hesitation, it all starts there. And yet, most people spend more time caring for their phones than they do their minds. They upgrade their devices, protect their screens, clear out storage, but leave their minds cluttered with fear, comparison, and noise. Imagine if we treated our thoughts with the same level of attention. Imagine if we invested in clarity, in focus, in peace. What kind of lives would we build then? The truth is, your mind will either be your greatest ally or your biggest obstacle. The difference depends on how you train it. See, you weren't born with fear. You weren't born with self-doubt. Those were learned along the way, through hurt, through failure, through other people's opinions. But just like they were learned, they can be unlearned. That's the beauty of the mind. It's not fixed. It can change, adapt, grow, if you're willing to do the work. You have to protect what gets in. Be careful with what you consume, what you watch, who you listen to. Every word, every message, every image, they plant seeds. Some grow into vision, purpose, strength. Others grow into insecurity and distraction. You don't always get to choose what happens to you, but you do get to choose what takes root in your mind. And you must feed it well, not just with information, but with wisdom, with hope, with ideas that challenge you and stretch you. Because the more you expand your thinking, the more you expand your life. You were never meant to stay stuck in the same pattern of thoughts, living the same